The offseason is underway for the Cardinals. We talked about free agent pitchers yesterday, but what about trading for a pitcher? An interesting proposal was brought up by one publication, and we'll discuss that and more on today's episode of Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Haffern, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can follow me on Twitter at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. Want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube if you're looking for the visual version of this show. We've got it for you on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe and comment. Always feel free to comment down below on those videos. Interact with us. Hit the notification button so you know when the new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode being brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and you get $200 in bonus bets. Guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Now, during this offseason, we're going to have plenty of rumors. They swirl around every single week. Some are good, some are bad. We're gonna have rumors to sift through about free agent signings, trade proposals. Last year it was my first year doing this show, and it was one of the more fun aspects about it all was trying to come up with ways to improve the team in the offseason, to see if the ideas that we all got together and decided were like good ideas, whether or not the front office would follow through on our kind of ideas and make them realities for us. The Wilson Contreras was one that we brought up multiple times that we thought, if you're not going to trade for Sean Murphy, you go get Wilson Contreras, and that ended up being true. That ended up happening. But, it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. There's never a shortage of experts and websites that will suggest possible deals and signings. And like I said, some of them are good. Some of them are going to be bad. Some of them are, I don't know, maybe that could be a good one. Some of them are so obnoxious that they're clearly done just to get clicks, which is fine. But again, this is the fun part. So we all get to play, the GM in these situations. If you had on, your John Mozeliak bow tie, and you had your Bill DeWitt Jr. money, how are you going to fix this team? It's up to you. It's in your hands. That's the fun part of the offseason. Now, in a video game world, obviously, you just kind of go out and you just buy all the good players and you call it a day. But in real life, the Mets actually tried that in IRL, and it failed miserably. But the Cardinals operate with a budget. They do. And we don't know what that budget is. Last year, I was hoping that it was going to increase to maybe like $200 million. They fell well short of that. But there is going to be a budget. I think they're going to have to increase things more than they did this year, obviously, to compete with some of the other teams in Major League Baseball, if they're going to end up signing any of these guys. But the idea is, because of the budget, you can't say, well, I want you to sign Ohtani, Snell, Nola, and trade for Shane Bieber. As much as that would work and make your team better, it's just not realistic. And I want you guys, when we go through all of this stuff, through this offseason, keep an open mind that when you hear these trade ideas with the Cardinals, a lot of it is done for just conversation and for fun. There's no need to get into the name calling and like, you're an idiot, and scream at each other. You don't have to do that. Okay. Let's just have a civil conversation. Let's throw some ideas up on the wall and see what sticks. Another thing I'd say is that one thing the Cardinals and Cardinals fans are guilty of when it comes to stuff like this is overvaluing our own players. I'm putting myself in these shoes as well, because I know I do it. I am totally guilty of thinking that guys that the Cardinals have in their organization and on their team, are probably not as good as I think they are. Maybe other teams view them as, a lesser level of quality than I do. For instance, I think Tommy Edman is one hell of a special baseball player. Switch hitter, good speed, can play multiple positions. He can play center field, for God's sakes now. He's won a Gold Glove at second base. He's a key cog in what the Cardinals do with their lineup. But does anyone outside of St. Louis feel that way? Do they think he's all that special? I don't know. I would assume he's got some value, but I think he's way more important to the Cardinals than he is to other teams and how other teams view him. It's why I think a lot of people are going to probably dislike this trade proposal that was brought up by Zachary Rymer over at Bleacher Report. He did a write-up called Realistic Trades That Could Happen in the 2023-2024 offseason. So it's not just a deal that includes the Cardinals and that's all he talked about. No, he's got a bunch of them going on here. He's got some wild ones here. He's got Juan Soto going to the Yankees, Shane Bieber to the Red Sox, Tyler Glasnow to the Dodgers, Pete Alonso to the Cubs, Corbin Burns to the Mets, Dylan Cease to the Astros, all these big market moves. And then he listed two trades that had to deal with the NL Central and the smaller teams. So he had the Marlins sending Edward Cabrera, a guy that I would love to see if the Cardinals could pull him away from Miami. But Edward Cabrera going to the Reds. And then he had the Mariners trading Logan Gilbert to the Cardinals. Logan Gilbert, you should be familiar with if you've been on the show for a while now. We've talked about him. The proposal was the St. Louis Cardinals will get right-handed pitcher Logan Gilbert, who you can see on the screen right now on YouTube, in exchange for second baseman Nolan Gorman, infielder, outfielder Brendan Donovan, and outfielder Tyler O'Neill. Here's what Rymer says about this. The Cardinals would presumably only do this deal if they are comfortable moving with Mason Wynn and Tommy Edman as their double play combination. If so, the deal would net Seattle much needed help at second base and two guys who could shore up their outfield on either side of Julio Rodriguez. In the article, he gives reasons why it would make sense for both teams. For the Mariners, he says, it wasn't for lack of talent in their rotation that the Mariners missed the playoffs, and their surplus can only grow as Robbie Ray, Emerson Hancock, and Marco Gonzalez are due back from injuries in 2024. If the Mariners seek to subtract from this surplus for the sake of adding to their offense, Logan Gilbert would be the logical candidate to go. He isn't their ace, but his command, durability, and club control through 2027 would be sure to attract a crowd. On the Cardinals side, he says there's no need to speculate about whether the Cardinals would like to have Gilbert. Even as their 2023 season was failing to launch, Derek Gould of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch reported in July that the club had the righty on its radar. Gilbert would certainly be a welcome addition to a Cardinals rotation that posted a 5.07 ERA this season, and there's at least one reason to believe they can make a deal happen. Whereas the Mariners have excess arms, the Cardinals have excess bats. So the idea of a trade between the Cardinals and Mariners has been circulating for a while. Like he says in his article, Gould brought this up in July, the name Logan Gilbert specifically, as somebody that the Cardinals were very much interested in. Again, July, so this was before we got to the trade deadline. This was when teams were putting out feelers saying, hey, we would like to be interested and move this guy to get this guy and whatnot. And I'm sure they were throwing it out there as like, hey, Mariners, you want some offense? Try to get into the postseason? We'll take one of your pitchers off your hands. Nothing really came about it. We did an entire episode on what it would be like to trade for a Logan Gilbert, what it would entail. We knew it wouldn't be an easy trade. If you want good players, normally you have to, give up good players or prospects with a very high ceiling. So what do you guys think about this deal? If it was proposed to you, Logan Gilbert for Nolan Gorman, Brendan Donovan, and Tyler O'Neill. Think it over. We're going to dissect it a bit next on Locked On Cardinals. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That seems to work out in your favor. $5, you get 200 in the bonus bets. It's a pretty good deal. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app, very, very easy to use. I am no huge guy when it comes to the betting world, and I can handle the FanDuel app. It is not that complicated, and there's a wide range of things that you can bet on. A lot of different options. Obviously, you've got spreads. You've got the player props, which people love these days. Talking to a guy at the gym earlier today, telling me about all the different player prop bets that he had made that he almost landed. Didn't get them all, but he said it was really fun. It kept him interested because he's not a baseball guy, but he was very interested in what happened in the wild card games yesterday because he made these bets. You've got over-unders and a whole lot more available. Thursday Night Football obviously is going to be coming up here. 0-4 Chicago Bears at the 2-2 Washington Commanders. Commanders favorites in this one. The Bears, not very good. Blew the game against Denver. Will they, on a short week, be better against a Washington Commanders team, which I don't think is that bad of a team if they can get their quarterback situation, if they can get Sam Howell to just be a normal quarterback, just not kill them like he did against Buffalo. But you've got all sorts of different prop bets you can go with here, rushing and receiving yards, pass. There's so much stuff there. A lot of chances to win, basically. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave comments on YouTube as well as on Twitter anytime you want. Your feedback always welcome and encouraged. I've been getting a lot of feedback just from talking about the wild card games for the last couple of days. You know, just because the Cardinals aren't in it doesn't mean we don't have an interest in what's going on in the world of baseball. So make sure you're still on their Twitter and then obviously on YouTube. Give me your comments on different things that we talk about in each and every episode. So where were we? Oh, yes. Nolan Gorman, Brendan Donovan, Tyler O'Neill for Logan Gilbert. So let's break it down a little bit because first things first, how good is Logan Gilbert? How good is he? So I can give you the numbers. 13-7 this year, 3.73 ERA, 189 strikeouts, and 190 and 2/3 innings. 26 years old, 32 starts in back-to-back seasons, so he's a healthy guy. Made less than $1 million this year and won't hit free agency for like another 4 years, I think. I mean, there's a lot to like about Logan Gilbert, but is he a top-tier pitcher? That's certainly debatable, okay? I mean, he's clearly not the ace on his own team. He's good. The future seems bright. But when you go back and you look at the numbers, he was actually a little bit better in 2022 than he was this past season. The problem here is that everybody knows how desperate the Cardinals are for starting pitching this upcoming offseason. They all know. And they plan on taking advantage of the Cardinals in a situation like that. Adding a solid arm like Gilbert at his age, very, very attractive. Under cost control circumstances, and he's good already. How much better is he going to be? I can't see the future. But when I looked at his, numbers on Baseball Savant, a lot of red up there, which is good, which is very, very good. But is he the type of guy that you are willing to part with a Nolan Gorman and a Brendan Donovan to go get him? Sadly, I don't think anybody minds moving on from Tyler O'Neill. So much potential, but it just feels like that ship has sailed. He can't stay on the field. He probably doesn't have a lot of trade worth, so just kind of sticking him into a deal to go get a pitcher or two makes a lot of sense. But it just feels like his time in a Cardinals uniform it could be coming to an end. And I hate that because I like Tyler O'Neill as a player. I wish he could stay healthy and we could see what we saw in 2021 a little bit more out there on the field. Unfortunately, it just hasn't been happening. I think a lot of fans are on the fence of what to do with Nolan Gorman. Personally, I think the dude is an absolute stud in the making. I was the guy last year who had his back when everybody was like, send him back down. He's garbage. Trade him. He's never going to be good at the major league level. I was the one who stuck up for Nolan Gorman last year and could not believe how many people wanted to get rid of him. And then this year rolls around and what happens? He He's very, very good at the beginning of the year. There are positives about what's going on with Nolan Gorman. There are also negatives. Let's get a couple things here. His first 2 years in the big leagues, positive-wise, elite power. Elite power. Among second basemen, third in the league in home runs with 27 behind Marcus Semien, the do-it-all guy for the Rangers, who had 29 this year, and then Ozzie Albies from the Braves, who had 33. And what stands out when you look at those numbers is that Gorman, again, 27 dingers, he hit those in almost 200 less at-bats than both Semien and Albies. Gorman had 406 at-bats this year over 119 games. Albies had 596 over 148 games. Semien had 670 at-bats. Played in all 162 games this year. Gorman's got a 5.8 home run percentage, which would be, if he had had enough at-bats to qualify, the 12th highest percentage in the league. The names in front of him, big ones. Matt Olson, Shohei Ohtani, Pete Alonso, former Cardinal Marcell Ozuna, who had a monster year this year for Atlanta, Kyle Schwarber, Luis Robert Jr., Jake Berger out of nowhere goes bonkers this year, former Cardinal Adolis Garcia, who had another monster year for Texas, Max Muncy with the Dodgers, Corey Seager with the Rangers, Jorge Soler with the Marlins. You got a lot of studs there, and Gorman's power is in the conversation with all of them. And he's only in his second year in the league. He's 23. He's a 40 home run candidate, no doubt. That's very, very attractive. I mean, what's not to like about that? Now, the defense wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. We saw him in his rookie year struggle a lot. Still -2 in outs above average and -2 in runs prevented. So he's not, some gold glover out there at second base. In fact, he played better at second than he did at third this year. One of the negatives, though, the strikeouts. Strikeouts are always going to be there. That's it. That's part of the Nolan Gorman game. Get used to it. He's not going to cut down on them probably all that much. Hopefully, he improves each year a little bit. That's just kind of who he is. 31.9% of the time, he whiffs, which is one of the highest percentages in the entire league. I think there was only like 2 of them. There were the 2 guys that were worse than that. Again, he didn't qualify for it because of the lack of at-bats. And then on top of that, you've got the chronic back issues that popped up this season. And honestly, it worries me a little bit. 23 years old, back issues already? I don't know if I like that. And then you got Brendan Donovan, who we know he was having a solid season this year. We all love Brendan Donovan, right? 284 average, 11 home runs, 34 ribbies, OPS plus of 115. Winner of the utility gold glove last year as a rookie. Had just 3 errors this past season before he got hurt, all at second base. Total runs above average were down significantly, though, this year, which is, I know he had to play a lot of different positions, but he had to do that his rookie year, too, and he was just fine. But he was a combined +9 at all of the positions that he played his rookie year. This year, he was a -10. And now he's coming off elbow surgery on his throwing arm. Do we know how well he's going to respond to that? And the other things that you got to think about is if you do make a trade like this and you move, Gorman, O'Neill, and Donovan were 3 starters from your team this year. All right, so keep that in mind. So who's left behind to play if you move on from all 3 of them? Well, you'd still have Nolan Arenado at third. Mason Wins at shortstop now. Tommy Edman, second base. Paul Goldschmidt over at first base. That's pretty darn good infield. If Wynn becomes who we believe he can be, that's borderline a great infield if Wynn pans out. Prospect-wise, behind them, you've got guys like Thomas Ajacey, just won the MVP. Cesar Prieto, AAA. He's getting close. And And the outfielder, you got Jordan Walker in right field, Lars Nootbaar and Dylan Carlson. Yeah, Carlson's still around. You got them to play center field and left field. Richie Palacios, I think, has earned a spot on the team next year. Alec Burleson will be back. He'll be healthy after fracturing his thumb. You've got prospects like Victor Scott II, Chase Davis, both in your top 5 prospects, according to MLB Pipeline in your system. They're on the way. And let's be honest, there's not usually a shortage of veteran outfielders to choose from that you can pluck off the free agent market. They got plenty of left-handed bats there, so you don't have to, specifically get one of those. You can go get a right-hander with some power or something to come off the bench, like an Adam Duvall or something. I don't know, but there's plenty of them out there normally. Now, after hearing all of this, after putting all of this information in front of you, do you think that you would say no to this particular trade? We just saw what a team that's got all 3 of those guys in the lineup, albeit sporadically because they were all dealing with injuries at certain points of the season. But we just saw what a lineup with them in it did. Finished last place because there was no pitching. So if you made a trade like this and then, again, we're in make-believe land here. We're just having some fun with this. But if you made a trade like this, sign one of the free agent pitchers. Say you get one of the Japanese guys or Sonny Gray or Nola and team them up with Logan Gilbert. Is that enough to help turn this team around? What if you can get a trade done and sign 2 of those type of guys? One of the Japanese guys and a Sonny Gray or Nola. Let's forget the Japanese guys. Say that doesn't happen. What if you just get, since we just talked about him yesterday, you get Aaron Nola and Sonny Gray, you make the trade for Logan Gilbert, you put those 3 at the top of your rotation along with Michaelis, Matz, Liberatore, Thompson, Hudson. Would you take that? And then you have the starting lineup that I just put out there for you? Would you take that? Would that be enough to turn things around? I mean, it's pretty good. I want to hear from you, though. Blast your thoughts in the comments below. Is Mo an idiot if he were to accept a deal like this? What if it was modified? What if it was O'Neill and just Gorman for Logan Gilbert? If you think that's too much for someone like Gilbert, if you think, Donovan, O'Neill, Gorman, the trade that was brought up here, you think that's too much for a guy like Gilbert, you want somebody better, who would you go get instead for a Gorman-Donovan trade combo? Who would you target instead with that? If you decided, hey, I'm okay with what's left over offensively, if we moved on from both of them to go get a pitcher, which pitcher would you want instead if Gilbert's not good enough for you? Let me know down in the comments section below or hit me up on Twitter. Again, I don't want to move these guys. They're not doing anything wrong where I'm like, get them out of here. Well, maybe O'Neill. Maybe we're trying to move on from there. But if you're going to fix the problems with this team and you're going to do it via trade, someone's got to go. You can't trade all your crappy, injured, underachieving guys and expect good pitching in return. It just doesn't work that way. So let me know in your comments below. I can't wait to read these. We'll do a follow-up episode about this later on this week. We're going to talk about the playoffs next because wild card round is already over. Like totally done. All of them were sweeps. I'm going to break down the games next for you on Locked On Cardinals. Now, I've been talking to you guys about bird dogs since the spring, and if you have jumped on board and gotten yourself some bird dogs, amen, good idea. You're one of the smart people. You deserve a gold star. You deserve the stickers, everything that says that you're a really, really cool person. Because bird dogs are great. For those of you who haven't jumped on yet, maybe you're just finding the podcast and you don't know what a bird dog is. Well, let me tell you all about them, because bird dogs are the shorts that I fell in love with this spring. Been wearing them all summer. Still been warm out. I've still been rocking them, even though we're in October. And I wear them for all sorts of occasions, whether it's going shopping, lunch, dinner. I wear them for a lot of outdoor activities, specifically golf. They're my favorite golf shorts. They fit way better than regular shorts. They're not made of that stiff, restricting cotton that some of those other brands are made of. They got the cloud knit fabric. It looks like khaki. So you look like you're in the expensive shorts and you're not. You got the bird dogs on. They stretch. Gives you that slimmer look in your legs without having to sacrifice movement. Nobody likes it when it's tight and bunched up down there. If you're a sweatier person, bird dogs are great for you. Anti-stink sweat wicking fabric, keeps you cool and dry all day long. Like I said, love them on the golf course. Love them. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB. Enter the promo code LockedOnMLB at checkout for a free Bird Dogs water bottle with your order. Take it with you on the golf course. Nobody says you have to fill it with water. It is a water bottle, but you can use it for other things, if you know what I'm saying. Wink, wink. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB for a free water bottle at checkout. You won't want to take your bird dogs off. We promise you. The wild card games were anything but wild. Let's be honest, which is a little bit unfortunate for MLB. But nothing that happened in the wild card round this year, to me, was all that unexpected. In fact, I predicted all 4 series correctly. I picked all the winners. That's the way I thought it was going to go. I didn't think they were all going to be sweeps. I won't lie to you there. I didn't think that, but I did pick all 4 winners. Let's start in the National League, where the Diamondbacks take out the Brewers, which did not shock me whatsoever. Frankly, I don't think the Brewers are a great team. And I thought the Diamondbacks I don't know. They just win games, man. And they did it again. You knew they were in trouble. You knew the Brewers were in trouble after the Snakes came out and they came back and beat Corbin Burnes yesterday. And they made Devin Williams, their superstar closer, they made him work his tail off as well. And he got knocked around. So on Wednesday, it was really almost a repeat of what happened in game 1, where the Brewers jump out and they get that early lead, just to see Arizona fight back and rally against their starter, Freddie Peralta, scoring 1 run in the 4th inning and then 4 more in the 5th inning. Zach Gallen had a tough first inning, and after that settled down and was just fine. The pitching that had been so vital for the Brewers all season just did not show up. They just failed in the playoffs. There's really no way to sugarcoat that. Freddie Peralta and Corbin Burnes were not good. Devin Williams was not good. Those are the 3 best pitchers on your staff. Woodruff was out. So they were kind of screwed. And their offense wasn't good enough to recover in these games. So they gone. Bob Nightingale dropped the tweet, and I thought it was I was like, wow, yeah. How ugly has it been for the NL Central in recent years? The last time an NL Central team won a postseason series was in 2019. The division is 2-20 in postseason play. By the way, in case you guys are wondering, that team in 2019 from the NL Central that won a series, the Cardinals beat the Braves 3-2 in the NLDS before getting swept by the eventual champion Nationals. We don't have to talk about that anymore. But anyway, so the Brewers are gone, man. The Phillies trounced the Marlins tonight. That was bad. Marlins barely put up a fight. Got clobbered 7-1. Aaron Nola was on his game, throwing 7 shutout innings. Offensively, though, Bryson Stott smashes a grand slam in the 6th inning to blow things open. Phillies were up 3-0 at the time. Then you get the grand slam, 7-0. Shut the door on the Marlins. Their trio of Luis Ariz, Jorge Soler, and Jazz Chisholm, arguably their 3 best hitters on the team, combined to go 2 for 24 in the 2-game sweep. Heck of a first year for manager Skip Schumacher. But when your offense gets shut down by Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Cardinals know what that feels like, man. The Phillies did it to them last year. Over in the American League, how about those Texas Rangers? Smacked the Rays around 7-1 to win game 2. Former Cardinal Adolis Garcia crushes a solo shot to get things going against Zach Eflin in the 4th inning. Rangers ended up plating 3 more that inning, got another home run. Was it Evan Carter? Who is this guy, man? Had a heck of a 2-game series there. Hit a home run today, and that kind of pretty much put the Rays down. Another former Cardinal, Randy Arozarena, 1 for 4, finished 3 for 8 in the series, but the Rays score just once in 2 games. Hard to win with no offense whatsoever. And then we head to Minnesota. Twins take care of business against the Toronto Blue Jays, Sonny Gray, dealing today through 5 shutout innings, 6 strikeouts. The play you're going to see over and over is the huge pickoff play at second base on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Nobody knows where the hell he was going, but it ended one of the few threats that Toronto had in this one. It was a close game. Blue Jays get shut out 2-0. That was the rally. That was their chance. And to get picked off of second base like that can't happen. That's embarrassing. They just score 1 run and the 2-game sweep as well. So Toronto gone. So here are how things look as we head into the division series weekend. Those will begin on Saturday in the NL. We've got the West Coast games. They're very split here. You got the West Coast games, which will be the Diamondbacks at the Dodgers in game 1. Clayton Kershaw going to make the start for the Dodgers in that one. And then in the other series over on the East Coast, you've got the monster matchup of the Phillies and the Braves. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch. At least it should be. On paper, I mean, these are two just titans getting ready to pound on each other. Over in the American League, you got the Rangers. They'll be at Baltimore. That game has a 1 p.m. Eastern start time on Saturday. It's the only game at the time of this recording that has a start time set. And then the Twins at Houston against the reigning champion Astros. Predictions for these 4 series. Give me the Rangers over Baltimore. Rangers just have the veteran look that I like in the postseason. Just usually does well in the playoffs. Manager Bruce Bochy, he just wins, baby. And they're going up against a very young Orioles team that won 100 games this year, but yet I don't know what they're going to do in the playoffs. You know, they've never, none of these guys have been there before. So I just kind of lean towards the Rangers because of that veteran presence. Give me the Astros over the Twins. I'll be rooting for the Twins upset because the crowd at Target Field was just electric for both games. It was really fun to watch. It was a very like hockey-like atmosphere in Minnesota. And I want to see more of that, but the Astros just got the horses, man. They're just a really good team, obviously. And getting Verlander at the trade deadline, wow. National League, I like what the Diamondbacks are doing. I think Corbin Carroll is a beast and is a future MVP of this league, but a lot of bounces went their way against Milwaukee. Like defensive plays were going off gloves and right to people. Like everything was going against the Brewers in this one. So I got the Dodgers just because the Dodgers are really freaking good. All right. And then in the Braves Phillies series, that's kind of a toss up for me. Max Fried's supposed to be back for the Braves. And if that's legit and he's the Max Fried that we're used to seeing, putting him with Spencer Strider, I don't know how you don't take the Braves after seeing them just mow down the competition this year. So those are my picks. Those are my picks for you. So thank you. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Again, sorry about how late these are coming out, but I appreciate you guys tuning in either in the morning when you finally see it or later in the afternoon. But I appreciate you guys tuning in each time. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans of baseball for a reason. I will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.